among these options, where does that leave us? And I think the answer is with very, very difficult decisions to make. Let me offer up one key example that legislators will be grappling with this year. What will we do about funding the foundation formula, which funds our public schools? Under current law, which is still phasing in the new funding formula, we would be expected to add an additional $87 million this year. Well, Governor Nixon, who is giving us record funding for public education, has been able to find $18 million, but that's not 87. What happens with the foundation formula and whether we achieve the levels that are required by statute will drive many of the other decisions related to the budget. It's simply a lot of money. And as you heard earlier, next year we could conceivably have a $1 billion hole in the budget. Let me give you a few other examples of what this means for us. If we shut down the entire University of Missouri, we would be halfway there to solving our budget problem. I looked at the graph and I noticed that the correction system is at $1.2 billion. That means essentially we could shut down every corrections institution in the state, we would solve our budget problem. At $1.3 billion, if we shut down every higher ed institution in the state of Missouri, we would solve our budget problem. So that's where we are. And states all around the country, of course, are grappling with these things. To inject a little levity, I'll mention somebody told me yesterday that, but in all seriousness, a legislator in Utah has suggested eliminating 12th grade as a budget savings. There is also a lot of discussion in the hallways in the Capitol about reliance on federal funding that may or may not materialize and whether budgeting on this basis is feasible. Right now, the governor's proposed budget for next year includes $300 million in federal funding that has not passed Congress yet. It's pending. He is certainly in his constitutional right to do this, but whether or not the legislature allows him to do it is not yet clear. Many people find it very disconcerting to plug the budget with federal funds that may not be sustained. Right now, in our fiscal year 11 budget, there are about $1.2 billion in budget stabilization funds. Well, my opinion is that this is an absolute necessity, that we use these federal funds to do this. The other part of that reality is if and when those funds go away, we are in a world of hurt. A House budget analyst told me yesterday that he is afraid, and he wasn't joking, he is afraid to run the fiscal year 12 forecast. And he looked at me and he said, and if you can imagine that we're in this situation, just think about California. I don't know if that's much comfort, but we certainly are not alone in the situation we're in.